All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with this final exam review. So the first question says, which equation represents a line that has a slope of -1/2 and passes through the point 40? So first off, if it says which equation, then that means write an equation, right? And Pat has this slope and this point. So you need to go into your notes and look for writing an equation given a slope and a point, or a point and a slope. So if we know that this is the slope right here, and all of our equations are written in our y equals mx plus b form. Remember, slope is the m. And if we're looking for slope to be -1/2, the only answers that fit that is A and B, so we can cross out C and D, and it has to pass through the point 40. An easy way to figure this out is to go into your calculator, plug in, for instance, A, -1/2 x plus 2. Press second graph, and let's look for the point 40. So this one does have the point 40. So that's the answer. Notice if you put in -1/2 x plus 4, and when you go to 4, the y is not 0, it's 2. That's how you know that B is not it. Okay? Let's go to the next one. So when we look at number 2, it says a teacher took a survey, all this, this, and that. It says after finishing the survey, he found that there was a strong positive linear correlation. Strong positive linear correlation. Remember, when we talk about correlation, that's R, right? We got that scale that goes from -1 to 1, zeros in the middle. This means strong is the strongest negative, actually, -1. And this is the strongest positive correlation. And here is where there's no correlation. It says strong positive, so that means it should be close to 1. And also it should be closest to a straight line like that. Strong negative means it should be closest to a strong line like that. Strong positive, which one fits it? It's D, okay? It's D, right? That's the one that fits. All right, let's look at number 3. Okay. Number 3 says, what is the slope, so keyword slope, of the graph of y equals 12x minus 19. Remember, that's in that form, y equals mx plus b, right? Where our m is the slope. So our slope is 12. So that answer should be D, okay? The answer should be D. So this one says, which value of x makes the equation 1.2 blah, blah, blah equals true. All that true. So this is an equation. That means, so when it says which value of x, that means solve. And that's our main idea. So how are we going to solve this? We can solve this in multiple ways. First, we can actually distribute. Parentheses means distribute. So we distribute the 1.25. So 1.25 times 4 is 5. And 1.25 times -10 is -12.5. So we could rewrite this as 5x minus 12.5 equals 7.5. And from here, we have a two-step equation, right? Remember that x wants to be home alone. So we got to kick out the 12 by doing the opposite of minus 12.5. So we can add 12.5 to each side. 12.5 plus 7.5, I plug in my calculator, and I get 20. That cancels. Bring down your 5x. So divide by 5. And 20 divided by 5, put that in your calculator like this. division sign, 5, and it's going to tell you 4. So our answer here should be D. Another way you could have done it if you wanted is to plug it in your calculator. The left side of that equation, you could put it in y1. And the, let me close that parentheses. And then the right side, you could put it in y2. And then press graph. Okay. Right now, my graph is skewed, so I'm just going to go back to the standard viewing window. So hopefully it'll look like what you have. All right, and we see that intersection. So we're going to press second, trace 5, enter, enter, enter. And notice how the X value here is 4, which matches with the answer we got. So that's another way that you could have done this. Number 5, the table shows the linear relationship between the average height in feet of tree and the number of years since the tree was planted. What is the rate of change, aka slope, of all of that? Now, there are a couple of ways we can do this. We could rewrite our table if we wanted to do, let's say 1, 3, this is X, this is Y. And then let's say 3, 24. Don't forget slope is change in Y divided by change in X. So if in your calculator, you just do 24 minus 3, you're going to get 21 here for your change in Y. And then 3 minus 1, your change in X is going to be 2. And so what you can do now to find your rate of change, that's 21 divided by 2 in your calculator. That is close to 10.5, giving us an answer right there as D. This says C. So what that means is perhaps we need to put all of this in the calculator to find it. So let's see. Or my answer key is wrong. So let's look at it. All right. If we plug this in, then this would be go to stat, edit. And in L1, I'm going to put the number of years. So 1, 3, 6, 11, 15. And in L2, I'm going to put the height, 10, 24, 45, 80, 108. Stat, calc, 4. And it does say here, when you plug it in, that A is 7. So we're going to go with the calculator and choose C. So the best thing to do here is to use the calculator. All right, number 6. What is the equation in slope-intercept form? So it's telling us how it wants the equation. That's y equals mx plus b of the line that passes through the points -4, 2 and 12, 6. Guys, just put this in a table and then put it in the calculator, because calculator automatically gives a slope-intercept form. So come here and press enter, stat enter. Erase what we did from the previous problem by pressing clear. And we're going to type in -4, 12, 2, 6. And then press stat, calc, 4, enter, enter, enter. And our equation is y equals 0.25x plus 3. And it looks like our answer is here, F. All right. Number 7 says, which graph best represents -5x equals, now we can do it. Which graph best represents -5y equals -6x plus 15? Here, this is not in either form. Y equals mx plus b. It's not even in standard form. So what we're going to do is put it in this form, because all we have to do is get rid of the -5, since we know y wants to be home alone. Since it's attached by multiplication, we're going to divide each side, or we'll make that 1, by -5. So that leaves us with y. And in our calculator, what we're going to do is go to y1 and type in parentheses, -6x plus 15, close parentheses, divided by -5. Press graph. And we're looking for which one basically is going to have a positive slope. And it looks like it hits the x-axis between 2 and 3. And when I look at my answer choices, the only one that works is C. This is the only one that works. So that was simple as that. Just make sure it's in one of these forms, right? Okay. Number 8 says, what is the equation in slope-intercept form? So y equals mx plus b of the line that crosses the x-axis at 36. Crosses the x-axis at 36. What does it mean to cross the x-axis? It means y is 0, so we can write this as the point 36, 0. It says it is perpendicular. That means opposite reciprocal slope to this right here. Now remember, this is in the form y equals mx plus b. So the slope here is -4/9. So the perpendicular slope is the opposite, meaning change the sign to positive, and reciprocal, which means flip the fraction. So 9/4. So we got our slope. And which one of these answer choices has a slope of 9/4? Only H and J, so we can cross out that. And now we have to figure out which one of these has the point 36, 0. Now we can easily plug this into point slope form, right? Which is fine. Or we can use our calculator and plug in these equations to see which one has this point. So we can go in to y1 and type in 9/4x plus 81. Press second graph to see which one has a point 36, 0. So go down 36. That does not say 36, 0. So we know that's not it. It has to be J. For number 9, it says a student worked out at a gym continuously for 50 minutes. The graph shows the remaining percentage of the workout as a linear function of x, the times in minutes. So it says, which of the following describes the domain and the range? Don't forget, domain is x, range is y. Since the endpoints are closed, meaning they don't have arrows, it means that anything that, none of these answers say that. So, but either way, it's not like all real numbers, right? We're looking for the domain, which is x. So look here. The x starts at 0. Here, the x ends at 50. So which answer choice talks about going from 0 to 50, right? We know it's not B or D because these are only giving us one number answers. And that's just not the case. This is clearly a span, a range, or yeah. So the only one deals with 0 to 50 for domain is C. And then, of course, the range goes from 100 to 0, which is why it's also C. Okay. All right, let's do 10. Okay, this one says, which graph of the linear function is shown on the grid? No, it says the graph of the linear function shown on the grid. It says, what is the rate of change? Keyword, rate of change. That means slope. And we can do this a couple of ways. We could put it in a table, right? -3, 3.6, 5, 2. And basically plug this in the calculator. And what we're going to do here is press Stat Calc 4. And remember, A represents the slope. So here, slope equals negative 0.2. And then we're done with the problem. So we use the calculator to help us find the slope here.